My name's Amiot. What you're about to listen to might make you feel a little bit sleepy, and that's okay. You can even take a nap in the middle of it if you really want. I always say that I know if I've enjoyed something, if I fall asleep halfway through. So don't worry, I won't be annoyed. Now, there is a book called Light Boxes, and in this book there is a chapter titled A List of Artists Who Have Created Fantasy Worlds to Try and Cure Bouts of Sadness. There's 12 names on that list, and something about it really struck me. You see, recently my partner was feeling very sad, and I think I was also probably feeling very sad. So I wrote them a story to try and cure their own bout of sadness, and I'd like to share that story with you today. Deep in the forest, in a friendly little tree, lived a small squirrel. Every evening the sun would set, and Squirrel would become scared of the dark. In that moment, the night surrounded him so completely that he couldn't believe he would ever see the daytime again. Before long, our poor sweet squirrel had quite exhausted himself, until one night he heard a whistling from outside his house in the tree. Perhaps it is a monster, thought Squirrel, come to swallow me whole. But Squirrel was still a curious fellow, so eventually he poked his head out to take a look. The figure that sat on the branch was no monster, but a familiar face. "Mr. Owl," yelped Squirrel, "what are you doing? Can you not see it is endless dark outside?" Mr. Owl turned his big eyes towards Squirrel and said, "Oh, Squirrel, it is only night time. They will return soon." Now Squirrel felt slightly embarrassed. Now he had heard Mr. Owl talk about the day, he remembered it all so clearly. Squirrel looked down and admitted, "I am only small. I hope you do not think me foolish." Mr. Owl cooed gently. "Sometimes I convince myself that the daytime will never end, and I will never see my love, Sir Moon, again. Even I need a reminder sometimes." As Mr. Owl spoke, he wrapped his wing around Squirrel, and so they held each other there for a while, both thinking about how neither day nor night could last forever. And from that day forth, every night Mr. Owl would fly over to Squirrel's house in the tree and teach him about daytime and how to remember the sun. And every night Mr. Squirrel would climb up the tree to Mr. Owl's branch and tell him about night and reassure him that he would see his love, Sir Moon, again. And Squirrel still found the darkness scary, but he rested well through it, knowing that soon morning would come to wake him. And he rested even better, knowing that he had a friend in Mr. Owl to hold him through the dark and sing songs of lighter times. And so it was the end. In truth, my whole body is made up of these fantasy worlds I have built to outrun various sadnesses. An owl and a squirrel perch on my shoulders to remind us that we will know joy again, my love. In my ribcage sits a child stolen by the fairies, because that is an easier way to explain to my 14-year-old self why they were never allowed to grow up. Deep in my belly lies a monster made out of all of your pants and socks that I have borrowed. And when the day comes that you decide to leave me, I imagine it crawling up my throat, sliding out of my mouth and running back home to you. And that, dear, is why I retch at the thought of losing you. The inside of my elbow pools the tears my mother cried when she used to read me The Happy Prince as a child. I remember how they overspilled and dripped onto the floor on the day I became old enough to understand why she always wept at the part with the little matchstick girl whose father beat her. And just above my head flies a small, sweet alien who lands on my scalp on the days I don't want to be here anymore, and instead lets me feel like a Martian in a faraway solar system experiencing homesickness for a planet he has never known. You will know home soon, friend, he tells me, but spend some time, for now, exploring this strange green planet you have found yourself on. Spend a while gazing at how the constellations look from this side of the cosmos. I think you will miss the Earth's night sky when you are home. So know that when I lie my body to sleep at night, I rest with one foot in this world and another on Mars, or in the fairy forest, or some other place where magic is real and we can sleep soundly without fear or worry. And I know, my love, that some days both of those things might feel equally fantastical. And I don't know, really, whether fantasy worlds can cure bouts of sadness. In all honesty, I think I really doubt it. But I know that I am not the first person to try. I am, at the very least, the 13th person to try. And that itself makes us less alone.